Welcome, everyone, to Rutgers at the Voice of College Football. We have a special episode for you today. I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Gabriel Pickup, and we're here today for one reason and one reason only, and that is Rutgers alumnus Paul Robeson. The New Jersey State Legislature passed a law that said April 9th of every year is going to be Paul Robeson Day in honor of the outstanding Rutgers alumnus who was an All-American football player, a fantastic lawyer, an outstanding actor, and most importantly, a champion for civil rights in an era when African Americans were not welcome at American universities. Paul Robeson excelled and became one of the most proud Rutgers alumnus in history. This bill was sponsored by State Senators Shirley K. Turner and Andrew Zwicker, designating April 9th of each year as Paul Robeson Day. Proud moment for New Jersey. And as both state senators said, Paul Robeson was a towering force of intellect and courage, a true trailblazer who embodied the very best of New Jersey's spirit. I couldn't say it better, Gabe. Tell me more about Paul Robeson.
Yeah, so Adam, I know you put him as your second most impactful player in program history not too long ago.
Sure did, yeah.
And he might have to bump up to number one after getting a day in recognition in the entire state of New Jersey, not just Rutgers. But so today we're wishing Paul a very happy heavenly birthday. He was born April 9th, 1898, passed away January 23rd, 1976. May he continue to rest in peace. So looking at some numbers at Rutgers, there's not too much information back in the day statistically, but what I can tell you is the awards. So he was a two-time consensus All-American in 1917 and 18. And when it comes to records, he played for a team that went 22-6-3 in his 4 seasons at Rutgers. He outscored opponents 941 to 191. I should say Rutgers outscored opponents when he played there. He played both sides of the line of scrimmage in college. He had 2 receiving touchdowns in 1917, and he had an interception. He had a fumble recovery touchdown in 1915. He contributed to a key win against an undefeated, heavily favored Newport. And that was really the first signature win for Rutgers in program history.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's interesting because Paul Robeson is everything that is great about Rutgers University and about the state of New Jersey. This man was a gifted debater, scholar, linguist, athlete, actor, singer, and author who championed civil rights and social justice. And he was born just a couple of years after the Supreme Court upheld segregation in Plessy versus Ferguson, one of the worst decisions in its history. And for this man to be among the first African-American students at Rutgers University to excel the way he did, to fight against the despicable racism and segregation that occurred at the time, and to excel in so many different areas while becoming a 2-time All-American defensive end for the Scarlet Knights is a tribute to not only his athletic ability, but his character. And that's what Rutgers exemplifies, and I'm so glad that New Jersey honored it.
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. And, I wanted to also bring in his numbers as a professional athlete, and then I'll totally dive into that social aspect because that's the most important aspect of his life among many feats, and it shouldn't be overlooked. But when it comes to his days as a professional, he actually started 13 games for Akron and Milwaukee in 1921 and 1922 in the American Pro Football League. So before the National Football League, there was the American Pro Football League. So he was among the, you could say, founding fathers when it comes to American football as we know it and the foundation of a league for competitive play. And he got a receiving touchdown and a fumble recovery touchdown for Milwaukee in 1922. So it's not just an instance of, giving someone recognition. I hate to even use the term, like, it's not just like a progressive, like, DEI thing. Like, he actually made an impact too, right? Like, obviously he should be recognized socially, but this man was also very good on the football field. And I'll get into the social aspect, but is there anything else you wanted to say about him before I got into it?
Well, I want just briefly, I want to quote Rutgers President Jonathan Holloway today. With this annual day of celebration, Paul Robeson Day, New Jersey shares our pride in and the recognition of Paul Robeson's legacy, which took root at Rutgers. And I think people have to remember that in 1915, this was a country that had its roots in racism. Yet, Robeson gained an academic scholarship to Rutgers where he was the only African-American student. Imagine that. Now, I'm not, supporting any particular political point of view, Republican or Democrat. I'm just stating the facts here. The only African-American student at Rutgers who became a two-time All-American and was elected school valedictorian.
Yes.
Then he earns his law degree from Columbia University and became a bass baritone concert artist, an actor, professional football player, and activist. Paul Robeson exemplifies everything that Rutgers is and that New Jersey stands for. And I'm so proud that New Jersey has done this. Now I'll hand it over to you to talk more about this fantastic man and this university.
So thanks for taking my talking points, Adam. No, I'm only kidding.
I talk too much. That's the problem.
There's never really enough good things to say about him. So he was actually the third black man to attend Rutgers, but the first to play football. So, he broke barriers both literally on the field and mentally and socially. You mentioned he got his law degree in 1923. He finished as valedictorian for the class of 1919 and was elected into Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society. Actor, singer, and lecturer. Starred in Othello, which that's very impressive. Starring in Othello, that's Othello today. You're taught Othello in school, and the fact that this over 100 years ago, that's far from when Othello was even made, anyways. So he took part in a very nice tradition, starring in Othello and Showboat too. He recorded music that sold 55,000 copies in 4 months in Europe and Africa and America. And among all of his social displays, he finally got recognized by the College Football Hall of Fame, getting inducted in 1995, and Rutgers Athletics Hall of Fame in 1988. Way too late, and unfortunately, it was posthumous, but better getting in than never getting in at all. And it's a shame that it took so long for sports really to recognize that African Americans, whether they're in Negro leagues or MLB or college football, whatever it may be, that their impact cannot be erased or moved on from just because it's in another league or another time.
I completely agree with you. That's so well said. And, in 1919, now, for those of you who want perspective on this, that's only 7 years after the Titanic brushed that iceberg and unfortunately sank. Terrible tragedy. In 1919, one of 4 students and the only African-American student accepted into the prestigious, Cap and Skull Honor Society at Rutgers. Now, I'm going to give a little speech here for about 30 seconds, and that is this.
Here, preacher man.
This is not about politics. This is not about advocating for any specific policies, liberal or conservative. It's about recognizing our African-American friends for all of the amazing accomplishments that they have had and that have been, unfortunately, not recognized like they should for so many years. Paul Robeson was one of the country's greatest citizens, and he was one of the greatest for so many reasons. And I think that when we recognize that there's so much that we have in common than that which divides us, we need to stop looking at each other based upon the color of our skin, but on the content of their character. And this man had the character of a champion, and I have nothing but admiration and respect for him. And Paul, I hope you're looking down and proud. We're certainly proud of you and admire what you've accomplished and hope that we can even be a fraction of what you were.
And I just hope that his message resonates to the team today, and that hopefully Shiano shed some light on his legacy, and hopefully the players have done their due diligence when it comes to researching his impact on Rutgers, on New Jersey State, and on the country and world.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because, so many times we get so focused on, is this player going to be drafted in the first or second round? Or is this player getting 2 or 3 or 4 million with NIL? But at the end of the day, you're not a football player only. You're a person. And the best football programs are the ones that produce the best people. And
Yep.
Rutgers, I can say, is one of those, and we're so
Oh,
proud.
absolutely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm very proud to represent, not as an affiliate, but as a fan, and hopefully an affiliate one day. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Well, Gabe, let's hope that we can bring that Paul Robeson spirit to 2025, because if he could do what he did in an era where segregation and racism were so prominent, this team can do it in an era where they don't face the obstacles, the adversity that he faced. And if they can have a mindset that recognizes that, I think they can be successful.
And that's not to say that racism isn't still out there. Sadly, it still is. And a lot of these players who are Black on the team do face that racism, not just Black, but, any minority set or even white. Everyone faces racism. And unfortunately, it'll probably always be out there. But that's not to say that we can't all unite. At least all the good-hearted citizens of America, fans of football. That's not to say that we can't all unite. And the common ground here is love. I mean, the common ground in sports specifically is camaraderie and, togetherness, being a part of a team, something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, that's so well said. And I see, hey, Austin, it's great to see you. And absolutely celebrating some history because, at the end of the day, you don't just celebrate the player, you celebrate the person. And what this man overcame, and for him to succeed the way he did as valedictorian at Rutgers, when he was one of a handful of African-American students there, to become a great actor, a great spokesperson for civil rights, and a two-time All-American football player. I only wish I could be as good as a man as he was. And Paul, we just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing so much to make society a better place.
And he never heard of the saying, "C's get degrees," right? He was acing everything, both in school, on the field, and in the hearts. My dog is even celebrating his legacy today, if you can hear him.
There you go. That says it all, right? So, we wanted to show up today, guys, to, celebrate Paul Robeson Day. And I hope he's looking down proud because he should be. And there's going to be more special episodes of Rutgers coming up. We've got some surprises for you, some updates for you. And this show is really going to be at the pinnacle as the season approaches and Rutgers surprises a lot of people in the Big Ten. And we look forward to hearing your calls, your comments. And if you like this show, please hit that like and subscribe button. Gabe, always good getting together with you. Yeah. Thanks for the great comments. Go Scarlet Knights.
Absolute pleasure. Go Scarlet Knights.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.